Revolvers have always carried that ironclad reputation. Solid steel, simple mechanics, and a track record of going bang when you need it. Plenty of folks in the firearms world look at a wheelgun and think, that thing's unbreakable. But let's cut through the myth right now. Even the most rugged revolver can fail, and when they do, it usually comes down to one mechanical problem: timing. I've always appreciated revolvers for what they are. No detachable mags to lose. No finicky feed ramps to polish. No slide cycles to worry about when the weather turns ugly. They're built around a straightforward principle: pull the trigger, rotate the cylinder, line up the next round, fire. That simplicity is why wheelguns have been trusted for over a century. But no firearm is flawless. And when a revolver does stumble, timing is the weak spot you need to understand. I learned that lesson the hard way. Years ago, I was on the range with a buddy shooting an old Iver Johnson revolver. Timing was off, and when it fired, it spit fragments of lead sideways. One piece tagged me just under the eye. It left a scar and a permanent reminder that revolver timing isn't just a mechanical quirk, it's a real safety concern. For concealed carry, I still recommend revolvers all the time. They're easy to run, powerful, and don't care about limp wristing or a dirty mag spring. They'll fire in the rain, in the cold, and with a less than perfect grip. That's why so many people trust them as daily tools. But reliability is not the same thing as invincibility. And when a revolver's timing slips, that trust can disappear in one trigger pull. What timing means. So let's break it down. Timing is the relationship between the cylinder and the barrel as the trigger is pulled. In a healthy revolver, that cylinder makes a precise rotation. The chamber locks up perfectly in line with the forcing cone. The bullet leaves the case, enters the barrel straight, and everything works as designed. But if timing drifts out of spec, that cylinder might stop just shy of true lockup. The chamber sits off-center. Now the bullet is trying to jump from chamber to barrel at an angle. That's where problems begin. The most obvious sign is lead or jacket fragments spraying out the side of the gun the moment it fires. That's not smoke. That's not dust. That's shrapnel being shaved off your round because the barrel and chamber aren't lined up. And it can cut you or the person next to you in an instant. Even when fragments don't hit flesh, the damage is still real. A bullet forced through a misaligned gap takes stress. Accuracy suffers. The forcing cone takes a beating. And over time, that abuse can crack metal or leave the gun in need of costly repairs, if it can even be fixed. Here's the tricky part. Timing issues don't always show up the same way. When firing double action, sometimes the momentum of the cylinder carries it just far enough to lock before the hammer drops. Looks fine. Feels fine. But switch to single action, and the lockup might fail completely. That's when timing issues reveal themselves most clearly. Why this matters. Understanding timing isn't just about running a revolver safely. It's about protecting the gun itself. Catching these issues early can save you from cracked forcing cones, worn lockwork, or a revolver that becomes nothing more than a paperweight. Wheel guns are tough, but they're still machines, and every machine has a breaking point. That's why learning the signs of bad timing is critical if you carry, train, or trust a revolver. Because once you know what to look for, you can fix the problem before it fixes you. In the next section, we'll get into what happens if you ignore these warning signs and how to head off timing problems before they ruin a good revolver. Stay tuned. Revolver timing malfunctions, risks, and detection. When timing starts to drift in a revolver, ignoring it is about the worst decision you can make. Those problems don't fix themselves. They get worse. And the longer you let it ride, the more dangerous and expensive it becomes. At first, the symptoms can seem small. A little splash of debris out the side after a shot. a group that starts to wander just enough to make you second-guess your sights. But those aren't quirks. They're warning signs. Here's what's really happening. When a bullet gets forced through a cylinder that isn't lined up with the barrel, tiny shards of lead or copper jacket get shaved off. And those fragments don't vanish. They come out the side of the gun at high speed, and they can cut you or anyone standing next to you. That isn't theoretical. It's real. When I was younger, I saw it firsthand. A buddy fired a revolver with bad timing, and a sliver of lead caught me just under the eye, left me with a scar that's still there today. That's how I learned timing issues aren't an inconvenience. They're a genuine hazard, and the danger doesn't stop at flesh wounds. A misaligned cylinder slams stress into the forcing cone every single time you pull the trigger. Keep shooting that way, and eventually you're looking at cracks, chunks breaking loose, or even a destroyed barrel. Replacing that barrel? It often costs as much as just buying another revolver. Sometimes the gun is simply done for. Add to that the accuracy hit. A bullet deformed on its way out won't fly straight. That's unacceptable if the revolver is your carry piece. If you're betting your life on that gun, you need absolute confidence that point of aim equals point of impact. Now, catastrophic failures, the full-on kabooms, are rare. But make no mistake, a revolver run long enough with timing issues is under constant stress, and stress eventually breaks steel. That's why letting these problems slide is not an option. The good news? Timing problems don't show up overnight. They creep in slowly, which means if you know what to look for, you can catch them early and fix the issue before it turns into a scar, a cracked cone, or a dead revolver. Spotting the signs. Diagnosing timing isn't rocket science. It's actually pretty simple if you take the time to check. The best way to see it is by running the gun in single action. Manually cock the hammer. Watch that cylinder. It should rotate and lock up tight before the hammer falls. If it hesitates, if it fails to click all the way into place, you've got a timing red flag. Now, in double action, the cylinder has momentum helping it along. That can cover up the problem, so don't rely on double action only. Always test in single action for the clearest read. Another obvious giveaway: debris flying out the sides when you fire. Little slivers of lead or copper aren't normal. That's a mechanical warning flare telling you the cylinder and barrel aren't in agreement. You can also do a hands-on check, but make sure the revolver is completely unloaded first. Cock the hammer, let the cylinder lock, and gently try to rock it back and forth. A healthy revolver will feel solid. Minimal play. Anything more than a hair of movement could mean timing trouble. And if you're not sure, don't guess. Get it into the hands of a qualified revolver smith. They've got the gauges and the experience to confirm the issue and give you the right fix. Why it matters. Catching these issues early keeps you safe. It keeps your revolver accurate. And it saves you from repairs that cost as much as the gun itself. Wheel guns are tough, but they're not immortal. And when timing drifts, it's not just a matter of performance, it's a matter of safety and survival. In the next section, we'll break down what to do once you confirm timing problems. And I'll walk you through some steps to keep them from showing up in the first place. Stay with me. Revolver timing malfunctions, fixes, and prevention. If you ever confirm that your revolver has timing issues, the first rule is simple. Stop shooting. Don't try to run a few more cylinders through it. Don't think it'll shoot itself straight. Every trigger pull with bad timing risks more damage, and worse, it risks injury. The good news is most timing problems can be repaired if you catch them early. A competent revolver smith has the tools and know-how to bring that wheel gun back into spec. And in most cases, the fix isn't some major overhaul. It usually comes down to adjusting or replacing the hand that's the small piece of steel that advances the cylinder into lockup. Sometimes it's a matter of swapping other worn internals. Either way, for a trained gunsmith, it's straightforward work. Handled properly, your revolver can be restored to full reliability without much downtime, keeping timing problems away. Now let's talk about prevention, because the easiest repair is the one you never need. Start with the basics. Clean and lube your revolver after every range trip. Don't just wipe it down. Pay attention to the forcing cone and the cylinder face. That's where fouling builds up the fastest. Left unchecked, that carbon and lead can grind away at parts and speed up wear. Second, make inspection part of your routine. Check your cylinder lockup. Make sure chambers line up solid when the hammer is cocked. Look for the early warning signs we covered earlier, fragments spitting out, or a cylinder that doesn't quite lock every time. Catching those signs early means the difference between a quick tune-up and a ruined forcing cone. Ammo choice matters too. Stick with quality cartridges. Cheap reloads or out-of-spec rounds don't just give you inconsistent performance, they hammer your revolver harder than it was designed to take. That extra stress accelerates timing issues. And one more point. Treat your revolver like the precision tool it is. Don't sit around dry firing it endlessly without snap caps. That kind of unnecessary strain on the internals adds up over time. Use the right gear, and your revolver will thank you with decades of dependable service. Revolvers are still some of the most trustworthy firearms you can own. They've earned that reputation, but no mechanical system is invincible, and timing problems are the #1 mechanical issue you're likely to see in a wheel gun. The upside? They're easy to spot. They're easy to fix. And with consistent maintenance, they're even easier to prevent. Today we broke it all down: what timing malfunctions are, how to recognize the signs, what steps to take if they show up, and how to keep them from ever happening in the first place. So if you ever notice debris flying out the side of your cylinder, or a lockup that feels loose, don't ignore it. Get it checked, get it fixed, and keep that revolver running the way it was meant to. Because with proper care, a quality wheel gun will serve you for a lifetime, whether it's riding on your hip for concealed carry, coming out at the range, or sitting in the safe as a family heirloom. Take care of it, and it'll take care of you.